So alhamdulillah we found Bia, but we still haven't found my mommy. That was just the beginning of the journey. We took 5 days to look for my mother. Every single day, till 3 o'clock in the morning. From Mina to Arafah, to the various mosques, to the various hospitals, back to Arafah, back to the embassy. So you're getting an idea when I say it just didn't just happen like that. Going back to the bait, it was like Leonie Fajr. Next morning again, after Fajr, you go back. Phone calls, was mommy found. Walid, my brother, he had to call the family together. This is the Sunday. They're now coming home the following Sunday. So they are having a meeting to prepare what they're going to make for die terugkomerij. What kind of food, you know, like we all. What kind of food, who's going to make this, etc., etc. And they're all excited because mommy's coming home after 4 months now, no? And Bia's children is there. Not having a clue that something occurred. He didn't have the heart to tell them. Because after the meeting, he was informed that I said to them, we still haven't found him. We found Bia, and I think it was too much to absorb. So I remember he found her at work, and she just lost it. The one that died in the motorbike accident. My mother was everything because my dad died when she was 4 years old. So my mommy was a mommy and a daddy to her. They phoned me to do a recording for her, to speak to her, because she actually got sick. A voice recording over the telephone while they recorded home and played to her. I came home and I was lying on the bed and I was extremely tired. I think it was just after Asr. And I had a vision that my mother was touching the ceiling of her room. She was lying, but she was on top, nearly touching the ceiling, if I can explain it to that. And I woke up. But the power of Allah is so immense that we never must out. And remember, we were supposed to go on the Friday. And as I came into the bait, Haji Farid was standing with the, what do you call the people that's normally there in the bait? Sabis. Yeah, and they were making, having full and roti. You know full roti, that beans that you eat with the roti. Ali, oh Fatima, you didn't explore that? That was my best food in Makka. I know, remember, that was like a highlighted moment. I became friends with him, and then you greet, yes, Assalamu alaikum, kaifa halik, da. And then Haji Farid introduced me to this full and roti, man. So I tasted and I said, this is nogal lekker. And then they found me to the room and they said, Hajja Sumaya Doutie, full roti, 8 o'clock. Then I stand up, go brush my teeth, go put my old top on, doek aan, haal ik af. At the reception, haal ik my full and roti out. They remake it, and they put chilies in there, and some of the masala, eh? I mean, we were there 4 months, it's you're home now, you know. And I remember as I entered Haji Farid's Sumaya, I got good news, so I'm looking at him. He said, our flight is cancelled. We're not going home. Ons bly nog 'n paar dae, nog 5 dae. Our flight was cancelled. Cancelled. So those days gave me, it actually brought a smile to my face. Because it actually, yes, time is of the essence now. I can only go home when I find my mother. I can only go, otherwise I can't go home. If I had a choice, will you stay until you find your mother? I would have stayed. We went to a morgue. But I thought I was entering the morgue from the front door. I was entering the morgue from the back door with the hospital from the back door where the morgue is situated. So in I walk. It was a makeshift morgue. There was no place to put the bodies anymore. It was like slates of wood. They would put people on top of one another like that. There was no place to put them. And then when I looked to my left, I saw this big van dropping off bodies. People in ihram, big and small. And I just stood there. I couldn't move. There was doctors standing there, and the one doctor just came in, took me like a statue. Like, walk, stand still, and I stand still. I was in total shock. I thought I was entering the front of the hospital. In the meantime, it was the morgue area. This is like 5-6 days looking for my mother. I could hardly eat. I think I lost 3-4 kilos in a week. What was my concern is like this coming Friday, I'm going home. There won't be closure. I haven't seen her. I haven't buried her. I can't tell him that. I can't go home. And you speak to Allah as, you know, Allah is your friend and your companion, your creator, your sustainer. I spoke like that to Allah. It was a place in Mina, and it was like a makeshift police station. It was like 9 o'clock the night. They say, we must come back tomorrow. And I said, Muhammad Noor, please tell them we cannot come back tomorrow. I'm leaving on Friday. I need to tell my family what happened to my mother. Did I find her? Did I bury her? I cannot go home. I remember clearly raising my arms, raising my hands, and I said, oh Allah, you're my friend, you're my companion, you're my creator. Only you know. I ask you, help me. I felt as if I was lifted from the ground. Wallahi. And I opened my eyes and I said, oh, the floodlights is on, but it was off when we got here. They actually put the floodlights on. They opened the gates, they said we must come in. There was a little room with photos of all the people that they took that died in the stampede. It was like wallpaper. Now you tell me, to look at photos of deceased people, it's not nice. It's very emotional. You cry for people you don't know. On those photos, you see young and old. I got stuck by 2 photos. You will not believe me, but Mama and Bia's photo were next to one another. I stood there at the 2 photos, and I looked at Bia, and I said, no, this can't be Bia, because Bia's fair, not thinking that he had internal bleeding. So it was a photo of my mother that was taken when she was, when they found her. And when I looked at the photo, I realized how hurt she got. One face was blue. It was swollen. I remember on here, she must have been maybe choked by the belt of a bag. She bought me the same bag. It was a denim bag with a denim strap. So that looked like a choker around the neck. And I remember the policeman saying to me, you can't look at me. This is what he told Muhammad Noor, because he's still got a mother. And he's thinking if he must lose his mother. They didn't give me the photo, but it gave me a sense of relief. And then, you know, what was so amazing, how people hear about what occurred in Makka, how the people stood by one another, Sheikh Faisal Gul was one of our spiritual leaders as well. I must also thank him. I remember he asked Sheikh Sudais if he could recite Surah Yasin. Because I think if you're looking for something, you get a group of people, then you must recite Surah Yasin. Earlier I told you I couldn't go to the Haram immediately to do Tawaf al-Fada and Sai. For my te gaan verlos completely. And the one morning I went, obviously much earlier before Fajr, and Sheikh Sudais is leading the Fajr Salah. After Surah Fatiha, Sheikh Sudais started with Yasin, wal Quran al-Hakim. The afternoon we went again, not knowing that was going to be the last search for my mummy. We actually gave up on our search. We actually left to go back to the Bait. And one of the people that was in Al Jama'ah, he said, our name is Yusuf. He said, you know, Sumaya, I saw this lady, but I wasn't sure if she was your mommy, man. Because her face wasn't showing to me. Her face was tilted to the side. But she was nearly touching the ceiling. Yusuf, tell the driver to stop, let us go back. He said, why? And I told him my vision. And I just said, when you go there, please don't take the body off. Take her rings off. I will tell you if that is my mom or not. He came back and he gave me the rings. And I said, can you go fetch my mother, please? I remember now they're taking her to where they're going to make a huzel now, money for the deceased. And you know, is it really they make huzel with a pipe in, né? Net so gou 5 minutes klaar, né? They must just cut off the clothes, né? I just know the body went in and 10 minutes the body is out, gekafing and alles. And I said I don't want to see her face because I didn't want to see her getting hurt, that she got hurt. And that's why I said I want to see her feet. And I kissed her feet. Her hand was lying like that on the stretcher. Now this is 5 days after she passed. Nou enigeen wat dood is na 5 dae, jou liggaam is styf. My mother's hands were, her fist was like this. I took my hand and I put my hand through hers. Wallahi, I put my hand through hers. And then the urge of wanting to open her face arose in me. And I said to myself, but you didn't want to see her face. And I opened the sheet. And I looked at her. And I kissed her on her forehead. I said to her, Assalamu alaikum, mommy. Until we meet again. And now the mayat is lying in front. And I know there was a man that side that they made Salatul Janaza. And as I wanted to make Salatul Janaza, the Asghari came to me and said, Ma fi Salah. He said, Fi Ummi. He said, La. Because he says, it's haram because there was men there and I'm standing. So I thought to myself, you can't deny me that. And as he turned his back, I picked up my Takbiratul Ihram. And I made Salatul Janaza for her. And he turned back and he looked at me. You know, because you can see with the spot of your eye. And he didn't say anything and he just walked off. Haji Farid could talk Arabic, ne? So when we were like looking for my mommy, he spoke to one of these guys. Now I'm sitting with Umar on my arm. Umar is falling asleep again. I hear him talking to the Asghari and he's saying my mommy's name. I heard the Asghari saying to him, Sumaya. And it's almost like I woke up. And I thought, how does he know my name? I didn't give him my name. So, you know, when they actually found the bodies, they would look in the bag or baggage what they have, if there was any form of identification. So they found a Surah Yasin in a bag. So in the Surah Yasin, my name is written, because it was my Surah Yasin that I gave to her. So they assumed her name was Sumaya. That's why we took so long to find them, going from morgue to Arafah to Mina to hospitals, because we were looking for Khadija. I believe the bodies were taken to Jannatul Mala to be buried. I must also mention that Abiya's son-in-law was also part of investigating and trying to look for him with his friends, with the Jama, etc., etc. But it was Haji Farid and myself and our group that found them, alhamdulillah. Die terugkomery, besides green, pink is one of my favorite colors. So that time they used to wear the abaya, ne? With the gold or silver embroidery that they have. So I had that, and with a pink midora with silver, and I still have it. It was extremely emotional. Coming home, it was like a janaza. You know, all the family on the airport. I remember my sister, she didn't, the one that passed, she waited outside of the airport because she was still very fresh, not even a week, like a week that mommy and Abia passed. The newspapers were on the airport. And remember there was big posters the Sunday. The Friday I came home, on the Sunday Times were big posters. 2 South Africans died in Makka stampede, and our photo was front page. Yeah, you know what was so ironic when mommy bought presents? Each present for each child or family member, she would put their name in the present. I only had 2 children at the time, and my mommy would say, "You must have a 3rd child when you go back." Coming back after 5-6 months, I realized I'm going to have another baby, and I named the Kauthar. Her name is actually Khadija Kauthar. Sheikh Faisal Gul, his daughter, at the time when we were on Hajj, his wife gave birth to a daughter in Cape Town. They named her Kauthar, and I fell in love with this name. When Kauthar was 3 years old, she went with us on Hajj. I didn't have someone to look after her, but I always remind her how honored and grateful she must be. She stood on Arafah. She made sand cakes with the zamzam on Arafah. And she would sit on her father's shoulders, and like Haji Farid would lead the tawaf, when you come to Rukn Yamani and Hajj al-Aswad, then he'll say, Rabbana, Atina. Then Kauthar say, Fatima. And then Kauthar got the nickname in Makkah as Rabbana Fatima. Yeah? I believe in the power and the prayer of a mother. And when you came from Medina, and you stop by Bir Ali, and I lost my keys. All my keys on my suitcases were all on one bunch. Instead of separating, so slim as ek. And I know this lady came into the bus and she asked, like, everybody missed the keys and your mind is now somewhere else, And I just didn't know it's not my keys. When I got to Makka, I realized, but it was my keys. So now to cut my suitcase open, relaying the story to my mummy, and she said, "Jy gaan baie keer Makka toe kom, my kind." I ended up working in Riyadh. From Riyadh to Jeddah, 45 minutes. It's very, very different what it is today. After those years of stampedes occurring year after year, the Saudi government, they changed everything in terms of one-way walks, bridges. If I wasn't on Hajj, no one would have known was my mother found when she died in the stampede. I could go and look for her. I could make Salatul Janaza for her. I could come back and relay the story to the family. Although it was an extremely difficult to come back. After 26 years, I still cry. I'm grateful to Allah for granting me the opportunity to be able to search for my mother. But I know the times that Allah sent me back to Makka, she was there. I could feel her. It would make me smile. I could feel her energy. I think my most special memories, and I feel very honored, and I think I'm extremely blessed to have stood with my mom in Arafah. That is, I think there's no comparison. We think we plan, but Allah plans better, and Allah knows why. These are the symbols they're going to be, that they are martyrs, that they died in jihad, and some my mother dying in jihad. What an honor. What a truly great honor. And sometimes she would say, jy moet 'n Arab getrou het, né? Dan jy hier in Makka gebly. Jy hoef net soos 'n Arab vrou. Assalamu alaykum, kayfa halik? Kayfa anta? Dan kan ek keer nie. Mina is gonna have a buka alone tonight, né? In the haram. So I must get up behind the haram. She's gonna bring the food, né? Okay. Now that time they used to sell rice in a plastic bag, man. Two real roos, né? Lekker basmati rice. Sitting on the red carpet, and I see she's grinning at me while I'm eating. Lekker honger. As she pause and she eats, and praat jy nie baie net is my honger, man. But I see she got this funny smile on her face. So ek is min geplaai. I'm just enjoying this dal and this. Ek sê, "Hi mami, maar jy's groot stukke vleis hier, né?" Sy sê, "Ja, is dit lekker?" Ek sê, nogal lekker, is nogal sag. Klaar iets, sy sê, "Did you like the meat?" Ek sê, "Ja, dis lekker kameelvleis."
As tu jackals hier